Good evening and welcome to another episode of Burn and Learn, the Cigar Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Steve Mann. We're coming from Rebellion Cigar Lounge in beautiful downtown Leesburg, Virginia. I'm really excited tonight to have an opportunity to chat with Omar de Frias. So Omar, I'd love for you to maybe give a quick introduction of yourself and then we'll just jump into a couple of topics.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. I know it's been long overdue. I'm excited to be here. It was, especially we're both from Virginia. It just makes a lot of sense. So it's my pleasure, man. It's going to be an awesome conversation about cigars, lifestyle, backstory, a lot of good stuff.
No, I like it. Like I said, we exchanged messages a number of times trying to work this out. And then when I saw you back in February or so at Pro Cigar, I'm like, I got to make sure I figure out a way to get on Omar's schedule.
Good time in Pro Cigar too. Good time.
Definitely a good time. It was my first time. I'm sure you've been a few times.
Yes.
So from that perspective, like, how does the event from last year compare to prior years? Is it like PCA where every year it's kind of a bigger thing, or
yeah, man?
How do you compare it?
So I've been going to Pro Cigar at least for the last 12, 13 years.
Okay.
Almost every single year. I may have missed 1 or 2 years here and there, but the progress that organization has had from organizing things and like at the whim of somebody saying we're going to change the schedule and we're going to do something else, to now have everything pre-organized, every single activity to the dot. Everybody knows exactly how many cigars they're going to get. The experience, how it has been, exalted. I mean, it's just everything about Pro Cigar, to me, hands down, is the best cigar festival in the world. I mean, you can put a lot of really nice ones, but to have the variety that you get and the access to the farms and the tobacco and the people behind it is just incredible. So it's come a long way.
Yeah, no, I went this year for the first time and I was completely overwhelmed. Like, everything's properly curated. It's completely organized, from the transportation to the food to the evening events. It gave me a beautiful perspective of the DR. I've never been there before.
Oh, okay.
So in addition to having the awesome tours during the day, it was really cool to better understand the culture, the music, the food, the nightlife, the beautiful scenery. Like, it's a beautiful country.
Absolutely.
So
just the experience of the food alone, man. They definitely do not spare any money on it. It's just they go all out. The food is fantastic. Again, it's all about creating that experience, right? Because you now tell somebody else tells another person, and it's their investment on this festival goes far beyond what they actually get back in return.
Right.
Because it ain't cheap, but they do invest an enormous amount of money on this, so your experience is fantastic. They bring out every single magazine possible just so that they can continue to share the word and continue to grow. It sells out every single year.
Yeah, no, I tell you, Teresa at Georgetown Tobacco.
Yeah.
So she sent me a note. A group of customers. She sent notes and said, "Hey, I'm curating a trip to Pro Cigar this year. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Okay, where do I sign up?" Right.
Exactly.
It was very easy because she took all of the guesswork out of it. Right. She put the schedule together, when to show up, when to leave, and so I clicked in early. And a lot of people that I talked to were like, "Oh, it's really expensive. I'm not sure." But from the moment you get there, you're like, "Okay, this is well worth the money." Right. It very quickly. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting recently to plan for next year, like a legit organized meeting, right? Like, who's going next year? How many people can we get to go? So we're really looking forward to.
Good. We'll see each other then again.
if I don't see you before.
Absolutely.
But yeah, absolutely. So we're planning for next year. I think it was a group of 7 of us last year.
Okay, good.
And I think that the group has already easily doubled.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to that. But yeah, so on the podcast, look, this is really kind of a laid back opportunity. I started the podcast about 1.5 years ago, and my intention at the time was the burn part is, hey, we're obviously going to have a great cigar and talk about the cigar, but I don't let the cigar become the show. Really what I want to do is on the learn portion, really understand more about Omar, understand more about your story, tease out things that I know you'd love to share with an audience. So that's really the learn part. And I try to do that in kind of a relaxed environment.
Yeah.
So
I'm relaxed.
Really,
I came in with like a nice little polo and just chilling. So.
really look forward to it.
Me too.
So yeah, so I tell us about what you selected for the stick for today.
I am smoking the Fratello 1821. I'll tell you, Steve, this is probably one of my favorite cigars in my line right now.
Okay.
It's a cigar where all the wrapper, binder, and filler, all from the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So through Dominican Puro.
Okay.
We experimented with some tabacos for the wrapper, and it blew my mind. So there's a couple of new regions in Dominican Republic that are growing this tobacco, which is extraordinary. And there's an issue with Dominican tobacco, especially the wrapper. It's tobacco for wrappers are not as usually as easy to find in Dominican Republic as they are maybe in Nicaragua, for example.
Okay.
So the tobacco that we have access to, it's inconsistent from one year to another, especially when it comes to color, not quality, but mostly color.
Okay.
And because it is the most expensive part of the cigar, you want your wrapper. It's kind of like the introduction of how food gets into your system. You see it first, you fall in love with it, and all of a sudden you prepare yourself to the experience. It's the same thing with the wrapper of a cigar. If it's an ugly wrapper, you're never going to pick that cigar up. You're going to be like, what the heck?
Push it out of the way.
Yeah, it could be a very flavorful cigar. So inconsistencies on the wrapper is usually what you find most in cigars and wrappers from the Dominican Republic, but it is a very growing part of our nation. And so they're investing, man. They're investing so much to the point that I'm not sure if you've seen the news, but they've named Dominican Republic, the tobacco in Dominican Republic, as a Patrimonio Nacional, which is a distinction of a very high level distinction for a product in Dominican Republic as something that is, very unique to the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And it was done by Congress, and we also now just inaugurated through Pro Cigar a new place where they are training cigar rollers and people to sort tobacco. So the region and Dominican Republic just keeps growing exponentially. And those two things speaks volume to what the quality of the tobacco that we're seeing nowadays. I mean, you look at that wrapper; it's silky, it's beautiful. It's got a beautiful texture. The oils are there, so I think it's just very, very unique.
No, but you do make a good point, Omar, around the wrapper is what determines people's interest in trying the cigar,
100%,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's got to have a great look and feel.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're looking for something else, right? And
100%.
so it's very inviting, really nice.
Thank you.
So I'd love to just maybe get a little bit more on your background. I know you're from the DR. Like, what would you like to share around your personal and professional background? I'd love to know a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, man. I was born in Puerto Rico. At the age of 1, my mother and my father took me to the Dominican Republic where I grew up. So I do consider myself Dominican because it's everything I've known. So went to high school, college, everything in the Dominican Republic. So I found my passion for basketball too. I used to play professional ball in the Dominican Republic for quite a few years. I loved it. It's all I wanted to do. Was riddled with injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Had a terrible injury on my right knee, the meniscus, the ACL, the I don't know SL. I mean, I had everything that you can think
All
of.
of those things.
All of them. And so for me, it was impactful because that's honestly all I really wanted to do. I thought I was going to be a basketball player for the rest of my life. And, I had to change my, NBA dreams for an MBA. So I ended up going for a Master in Business Administration.
Okay.
Graduated Dominican Republic, went to school in Rochester, New York, graduated there, went to school Dominican Republic, and back to Puerto Rico where I graduated my master's. And NASA was doing a very big corporate recruitment event where they wanted to take on a new, younger generation of people that were doing their master's in business so that they can bring them into the federal government. And so they offered me a great job. And I said yes. I was 25 years old. I came to the Washington, D.C. area where I worked at NASA for 12 years in the downtown building in 4th and E Southwest. So I was there for 12 years.
Gotcha. So you graduated MBA and then went straight into NASA. What'd you study in college?
So I did 3 different things.
Okay.
I did marketing, I did business administration with a concentration in business management.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did an MBA with a concentration in finance.
Wow. All the things you need to run a successful business.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Now, did you use those disciplines at NASA? Were you on like the business management side, or?
I was.
Okay.
I had 3 jobs at NASA, 3 primarily jobs at NASA. My first one was in the human capital, where I was helping with complaints management. So I was always very resourceful. So I was able to, put together through the use of like IT, data management, databases, ways for them to find complaints during the whole NASA structure much faster. Give me a whole bunch of awards for that. Then I got a promotion to go work for the CIO, for the Chief Information Officer at the agency, where I was there as if anybody knows about the federal government, I basically started as a GS9 doing that work in human capital. It went up to like a GS13, 14 when I was in information technology, and I was managing a $4.7 billion IT contracts for the agency.
Okay.
We were changing all of the contracts from web services, data centers, its infrastructure, EA, the whole 9 yards. And then after that, I got another promotion. I got to a GS15 by the time I was 30 years old. I ended up going to the Science Mission Director at NASA headquarters, and I was managing the budget execution for the agency. It was a $5 billion budget at the time, and it was awesome, man. I loved every part of it. But what NASA did for me, which was invaluable, is it trained me.
Yeah.
So beyond all of that, education and all that stuff that we went through, for me, the most important part where it really connected with me was they were paying for education for me to go to Wharton and get like 2 or 3 weeks worth of, studies dealing with contract management, budget execution, and these things that really helped me excel at what I did.
Yeah.
And so did I bring all of that into cigars? Absolutely. I mean, but the contributions that I had and I felt like I had with NASA was exponential for the time that I was there.
Yeah, I know. When I went to undergrad in DC, and while I was in undergrad, I did summer internships at the Department of Treasury.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity to do one of those programs as well, and I opted out. But sometimes I think back, what would have been my career progression had I entered into that management program with the Department of Treasury? Who knows?
Those are the things that a lot of times, Steve, people no longer. And I know we're talking a little bit about federal government and business and whatnot, but people don't pay attention how critical it is to enter in some of these business development, leadership development programs. I got into a leadership development program when I got to NASA. I was a GS9, but I got into it when I was a GS11 and 12, and those people that were first, part of the first group of future leaders of the agency are now the chief engineer, in charge of propulsion. I mean, these group of people right now are leading the agency.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to that. I agree. Those are incredibly important.
Yeah, and I do think those programs, the way in which they're set up, they do allow you to have a lot of quick career progression, right?
Where in the private industry it doesn't. And this is probably the reason and that I ended up going to NASA. And it wasn't because of me. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was battling with another decision to go work for IBM. IBM had this business development position that I would be in charge of like the entire East Coast of a lot of their enterprise products. So I would be, doing a lot of sales and whatnot. And I thought I was perfect for it. And I thought I would kill it. But my father kind of stopped me and was like, the only issue with the private versus the federal government is that the private industry is going to train you for 6 months and go out and do your job, and then you have to execute. Industry, NASA and the federal government is just continuously going to train you to just get to a whole different level. And it was true. Yeah, it was 100% the truth.
No, you're right, because I opted a corporate route
Yeah.
And, you know, I went to work at a bank, and again, they did have a pretty strong development program. But after you come out of that program, the education was done, right? It's now time to produce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas I feel like your program sounds like not only did they develop you early, but they invested in your education and continuous development throughout your career.
100%.
Right, and so that's a differentiator, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Really interesting. So how do you go about, just based on what you just said, right? Awesome, strong career progression at NASA. When did you become interested in developing a cigar company and developing your own blends?
So to continue with that progression, once I got to a GS15, by the time I was 30 years old, honestly, this is just the truth. I was so focused on this is where I'm going to be in the next 5 years that I didn't have a plan B to what would happen afterwards. Yeah. And so after I got to that position and I was there for 2 or 3 years, my only desire was to, utterly crush it at my work, and I did. Yeah. I got multiple opportunities to be the director of budget for the chief engineer and for other divisions. I was in a career path to be an SES, which is a senior executive service program, and all this stuff. By the time I was like 35, 36 years old. But none of that really caught my attention. Yeah. I lost a lot of steam too, unfortunately, due to politics. There was when you're in the headquarters building, you're facing it all the time, man. It's just, you're in the Hill every other week, and you're talking to some of these, very smart human beings, and trying to explain to them why, you need a budget and you need this and you need that. And some of these guys were just not getting it. And
you're saying it doesn't always land well.
It doesn't always land as well as I would hope, so I lost a lot of that fire. I'm driven by passion, and NASA gave me passion. So the moment NASA stopped giving me that passion due to terrible decisions. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and cancel exploration and just waste $4 billion on that. Let's go ahead and go with a new program because we have a new administration that takes care of the earth, and now we're going to focus on that. Let's put an enormous amount of money that we had no idea what to put and what we're going to do with this. It's just, there were so mind-blowing decisions to me that they lost me, right? Yeah, and so I started searching for things that I would be very passionate about, and one of those was that I got an address by Steve Jobs that really took it home for me at that time. It was that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Yeah. But the part that connected wasn't like, because you hear it all the time. Oh, the only way to do this is because if you love this, you won't work a day in your life. To me, that's a whole bunch of nonsense. But the truth for me is I love doing great work and feeling happy and proud that I did something excellent. And so I wanted to create something, and what better way to create anything than branding. So I started working on business plans. At that time, we didn't have ChatGPT or Claude or any of these beautiful systems that was spit out a business plan in a matter of seconds. I had to actually do it from scratch, go back to my books and read. It's what do they
chapter
mean
9.
By this? The whole
chapter
D's, 9. Right? Why did I write this over here? What did the professor meant to say? So, but it was fun to do. I still wrote a business plan for it. I started all of that in 2012, late 2011. I just wanted to do something that I was passionate about. Cigars is something I've always been very passionate about. I've been smoking cigars since I was 17 years old. Growing up in Dominican Republic, I grew up next to a retail store in the DR. So I was probably one in my entire class on everything that smoked cigars, in my high school class, in my college class, because it wasn't as popular. Dominican Republic was producing millions of cigars, but it was for export, not for internal consumption.
Gotcha.
So I was one of the very few. So I loved cigars since I was 17 years old. So fast forward, this called my attention to do something with it. I wasn't sure what that was. I wasn't sure if it was going to be, creating a brand, creating cigars, doing retail. Like I was not sure what was that path going forward. So after a lot of research and concentration of areas that I wanted to focus on, there was distribution here. You can do distribution, make a lot of money in distribution as well. But what connected with me was creating a brand. And the moment we did it, Steve, that was a game changer for me. Creating this brand for me was a dream come true. Like the first time I opened up an account was in Maryland. It happened to be one of the oldest tobacconists called Fader's Tobacconists. They're no longer in business, but I went in and I said, hey, I don't really know much about this, but I'm launching a cigar and I want you to try my cigars just to see what you guys think. And the guy was like, well, actually, this is really good. Like, where'd you get this from? I was like, I can't tell you right now because I was under a contractual agreement to not say, and that's the worst thing that you can say to a retailer in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Well, you're not going to tell me where the hell your cigar's from, but you want me to buy it? What? So I had to go through a few years of that, but I was producing my first cigar at Joya de Nicaragua, which is the oldest cigar factory in Estelí.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. The cigar was outstanding. So people really connected with it. And I remember when they sent me my first order, I remember it was like a $1,900 order. It's like, $1,900? Like, I'm going to kill it in this industry. Like, is this over? So I was so driven by the fact that other people were connecting, smoking, trying a cigar from something that, you envisioned. You envision the band. You envision how that guy is going to smoke it. Where is he going to smoke it? How is he going to feel? Is he going to be feeling okay by lighting up a cigar? 13 years ago, that was $8.50. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, for me, that was very that was just fantastic. And so the whole creation of ideas and exploring creativity for me, which I never thought I was somebody who was creative, but I am creative. And I came to know all of that after I started Fratello was something incredible.
Gotcha. So stepping back, like the early days, right after the business plan, like tactically, like how do you figure out, where you're gonna grow the tobacco, who's gonna produce it, as well as the whole thought around marketing. How do you think about the early foundation? What were some of your thoughts around just the launch aspect of the whole enterprise?
My God, I think this is where things drive me so crazy, because I've had the pleasure of also mentoring some people that have gotten into the industry or wanted to get into the industry in the last 14 years. And I do it with an intent and purpose of helping because I needed it, and I know how I felt when nobody gave me that opportunity to just shadow somebody or ask questions. Like it's a very open industry, but it's very closed internally for secrets and for information and blends. It's just falling down and lifting yourself back up. So one of the things that to me was very important after I started Fratello, and a lot of people would hit me up, it was like, this was my experience. The first thing that I would ask him is like, what's your business plan? And if you didn't have anything at that time, then I can't take you seriously.
Yeah.
So for me, to answer your question, was the business plan, was knowing who's my target audience, knowing where do I want to place my product, knowing how to budget for marketing, knowing how to budget for sales, knowing how to push, how to pull, knowing how to connect with my end consumer so that he understands that I am trying to target him, market to him, but also market to my B2B, right? Because if I don't have a B2B, if I'm not marketing to that retailer who's the one placing my product and introducing it to his customer base, then I'm spinning wheels. Yeah. So for me, it was that business plan, Steve. It was understanding that I had to answer those questions, and that is really where the key comes down to this for me.
Yeah, no, I got you there. I mean, I also have an undergrad in finance, an MBA in finance, and so I've written hundreds of business plans, right? And so I think that is a big distinguishing factor, right? You'll be amazed at the number of folks that are out there starting businesses that don't understand the key concepts that they have to have thought about, analyzed, and put in writing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. People don't have a plan.
Answering those questions.
Don't have a plan. Like, sometimes, mostly you need the plan to raise capital.
Yeah.
But even if you're not raising capital, you need the plan to make sure you've covered all your bases. Right?
This kid, and God bless his heart. I mean, all the right, the whole combination, right? Like, had the personality to sell, had everything. But and it's, oh no, I'm working on my business plan. It's, oh, perfect. Like, so what do you think is going to cost you to acquire like a customer outside of the area that you're in right now? Because initially I thought that this person wanted to focus on the Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland. So no, I want my product in Arizona. I want it in about 25 states by the time that my first year is done. It's like, oh, great. So what have you calculated your customer acquisition cost to know how much money you need to actually travel the distance? No, I was just thinking I just go on a weekend. Go on a weekend?
Uh-oh.
Like, bro, for 4 years while I was at NASA, I coordinated my schedule to be 12-hour days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that my Fridays were off. It's called the AWS schedule in the federal government, right? Yeah. So Monday through Thursday, we work 12-hour days. I would fly to my destination on a Thursday night so I can have my day during the day on Friday, schedule by laser targeting people that I knew would be there on a Saturday, meet roughly about 8 on a good day, 6 most of the time.
Wow.
And I had to land these people because my cost to go out there was well over $750. You see the body I'm working with. I'm 6'9", 300 pounds, but I'm not going to the back, okay?
Right.
And even if I am, at least I got to get an emergency exit, right? So that is a combination that is hard to see. So if you add that, plus the hotel, plus you're adding the cost of everything else, we're talking, I'm down to $1,000. I haven't even eaten a steak. Yeah. So let alone if I'm landing 4 or 5 people, right, out of the $2,000, we're talking $500 at the bare minimum just to potentially land an account. And this is me, who I have an ability to connect with people, and I come off as somebody who really wants this to work, which is the truth. Yeah. And I was able to, my land rate was at 80%, like 75 to 80% of the people I would go visit, I would actually end up working with.
Gotcha.
And so for me, it was, understanding those numbers was critical. So I would ask this guy, it's like, what do you think it's going to cost you? It's like, okay, let's do the math right now. So if you're going out every week and you're spending $2,000, and you're doing it for 3 or 4 days because you're still keeping your job, how much do you think it's going to cost you? Let's start doing the math. Yeah. And by the time we were done with that conversation, it's like, maybe I'll revisit going to California this year, or maybe the entire West Coast, or maybe the entire half of the country.
Maybe you start.
Focus here.
Maybe you start right here.
Focus here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I look. There's so many things I could tease out of what you just said. I think the most striking thing you just said was, I worked 12 hours a day, Monday to Thursday, so that I could travel and sell on Friday and Saturday. Yeah. I think that alone sets you well apart from most other people. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are doing that type of thing, right? Yeah. And the fact that you had a role at NASA that allowed you to do that, all the better. So how long were you at NASA while you were growing for
4 years?
4 years, okay.
So gotcha. Let me address allowed me to do that as a role, because I probably was working about 90 plus hours a week. I would wake up in Oklahoma City thinking I'm in Tulsa. I would wake up with palpitations on a Sunday thinking I had to go to work, and it wasn't Sunday, it was Monday morning. And it was insane. Like, yeah. I probably almost died in those 4 years about 2 or 3 times by either falling asleep on the wheel or, I mean, you name it, it happened, bro. It happened. And that's why I had to leave. Like, I'm not going to lie. I probably made more money, in the last year and a half when I was at NASA with the amount of, like, accounts that I had that I did the year and a half afterwards, after I left, and I almost doubled my sales just because I wasn't pulling a salary, right? Like, I had well over 600, I want to say 600 doors, about 260 accounts or something like that nationwide. I mean, it was crazy. So the volume that I was doing, and just had like one employee and myself just shipping product out. I was doing my sales on the Friday, Saturday, and coming back home on Sundays for 4 years. It was good time, okay? Financially, it was good. Time I left, though, not so much, because I did leave in 2016. Probably the worst time you could ever leave in the cigar industry, because it was the Obama era, regulations for the FDA came to fruition.
Yep.
They were trying to strangle us, and thanks to the CRA, the PCA, and all the job that they've done with advocacy, we were able to, 10 years later, after those terrible things happened to us, we were able to beat them. And I'm so proud to live in a country that gives us the opportunity to fight back against some of these bureaucrats that they just think that they're going to put up some of these terrible regulations and kill industries. I mean, some of this, I actually took the time to read the 987 different pages on this ridiculous bill. It wasn't even a bill. It was like this memorandum of documentation that they pulled together from all these. And I read the whole thing. Again, I wish I would have had ChatGPT. It would have been so much faster. Tell me about how terrible this document is. But anyways, you could have pulled a bulldozer through this document of how terrible the regulations are. They were talking about like, a product that was here from prior to 2007 is okay to be able to sell it in the market. We're talking about a brand, let alone there's not a single product that is at 2007 or before being sold in the market right now. There is a brand that is being sold in the market, but that product wasn't produced in 2007 or before.
Right.
So if you are launching your cigar and you were past 2007 or 2008, you're out of business.
Yeah. Wow.
So regulation, they would control and monopolize by very few. That's why some of the large companies, some of the very, very large companies were actually supporting some of this ridiculousness. And we ended up beating them. And I'm very proud to live in a country that gives us that opportunity to fight back, something that the Netherlands cannot do.
Yeah.
The Netherlands just passed a law that this beautiful band and a beautiful box of cigars cannot be shown to the end consumer. You have to put it behind a closed door. Somebody has to give you a blank sheet with just literally like typewriter letters saying these are the cigars, you have to choose them. And then when they give it to you, it has no bands, it has nothing.
So no branding, no marketing.
No branding, no marketing.
Wow. Gotcha.
So imagine living in a country like that. It would just destroy so many people. So
yeah, no, I think here, I think a lot of people take for granted our opportunity and our availability to mount a fight against some of these things, right? Like we take it for granted.
We do.
And it's because we don't have some of the travel experiences that others have,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
The people that travel and have been to other countries, I think they understand a little better than most, right? We take so much for granted. What surprised you? Like, I know you were at NASA and you were building Fratello. Stepping back, like, was there ever a time when the NASA folks knew, or does it even matter, or did they care?
Of course, no. I had to do all my documentation with the general counsel.
Okay.
I told them I was going to be selling. They asked me how much you think you're going to sell out of the cigars. They just wanted to make sure that I wasn't starting an IT company with a financial interest in something that could potentially be in a conflict of interest with NASA. Yeah. So cigars is not going to be a conflict of interest. So I remember they asked me the question of like, hey, so what are you actually selling or think you're going to sell? I'm like, I don't know, maybe like $20,000 a year or something like that. Like, I don't know. By the first 6 months were done, bro, I sold $165,000 worth of cigars. I'm like, holy man, I made it now. Like, this is just about to skyrocket this business.
They ever come back to you and say, hey, how'd you do against that 20K?
By the time that I left, I had to, because it was a 3-year renewal.
Yep.
And by the time, because although I had started in 2013, by the time the general counsel and I, ended up having the questions, whatever, it was probably about 6-7 months had already passed, that I had already filled out all the documentation and everything was signed. I think it was a 3.5 year period that I had to renew or something like that. And by that time, I had already made the decision that I was going to leave.
Gotcha.
My boss was the one who asked me, it's like, what's going on with you, man? Like, why are you leaving? Like, what is going on? I was like, I'm selling almost $750,000 worth of cigars, man. Like, I think I got a business in this. And what if I go full time? And the guy was like, yeah, probably is a good idea. You should go full time. And dude, by 2017, I had left NASA at the end of 2016. By 2017, I thought I made the worst decision of my life. It was the worst 3-4 months. I thought I was going to be selling, millions of dollars, because now I'm going to have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to sell cigars. Doesn't work like that, people. So
it's not exponential, right?
Don't do this at home. Not exponential. So, but March 2017 came around, things started to turn around, and by, I want to say, May had come around, I got a call from somebody in the Washington Post that was doing an article, because talking about Georgetown Tobacco earlier, a gentleman came and was approached by one of the people that was selling cigars, says, hey, did you know that this guy left NASA to sell cigars? And he was like, what? So it was like, interested. It's like, did he get fired or something? He's like, no, I think he was like doing pretty good. So he calls me. First thing he says, I'm a reporter in the Washington Post. Did you get fired from NASA? And I'm like, no, I didn't get fired from NASA. Like, I left, and who the hell are you, right? So we're starting to have this conversation. Sure enough, he's a writer for the Financial Times of the Post, for the local Washington Post, and he did a great article on Fratello. The article names like NASA analyst leaves $200,000 a year job to sell cigars. So call a sensational title, right? I had a line outside my booth at that year's PCA.
Yeah.
I was packed. I sold everything that I had in inventory, and at that point, that I didn't look back ever since. It was just
everybody wanted to meet the NASA analyst.
Yeah, man, they wanted to see what's up. What the hell is up with this crazy guy? So
that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think there were a lot of people that would think, wait a minute, GS15 at the age of 30, SES track, like, what's he doing? And
my dad and 99.9% of the people. I had two people that I remember to this day that said, it's my cousin Nilsa and one of my buddy Leandro actually lives around here. They were like, yeah, do it. What are you doing? Like, you're going to kill it. Like, take it all. So, but you know how good it is to have a $55,000, package where you got your 401ks coming in. You don't have to worry about spending $2,000 a month only in like health insurance and all the extra incredible high costs that come with it as well. It was intense, but yeah, man, after that summer, it was a whole different ballgame.
Gotcha. So when you initially rolled out Fratello, just like blends, how many different blends did you have? And did you start selling kind of closer and then branch out as you brought accounts on, or what did that look like? And were you able to leverage relationships in your travel early on to bring accounts on? So
I didn't have any relationships. That for me was a lot of hard knocking, and it was a lot of hard knocking on doors.
Yeah.
So I did have a strategy though. Like, my strategy was, I'm going to grow the DC market because I am here, and it makes all the sense in the world that if you're not strong at home, then what makes you think you're going to be strong in California? What makes you think you're going to be strong in Ohio? Like, get out of here. You need to work your magic and make sure that people in your hometown support you, because people do want to support you.
Correct.
And I think getting the blessing of some of my earliest partners, like Old Virginia Tobacco, Tobacology, WK Draper, and killing it with these accounts where people, it would take them 3 years to just be able to work with some of these people. Because you also have to remember, man, that 2013 was the boom of the boutiques. It was there was over 100 new, I'm talking about 100 new brands, okay? 100 new cigar companies in that trade show that year. And I'm telling you, there was a lot of brands coming out. There was an enormous amount of brands. And if you look back right now at that almanac, the amount of people that were there at that show, brand new exhibiting, versus what they are right now, 95% are already gone, easily.
Yeah.
And I'm talking gone. They can still be in business. They can still have a website or some sort of like YouTube channel or whatever. connect, but I'm talking product at retail level, product at major chains, like Total Wine, ABC, Specs, or major online retailers and partners. That's a whole different ballgame. To have presence there than to have like, oh, I got this guy that supports me here and there. So
yeah, no, I got you there. I think one of the things that's interesting is in my career in corporate lending, I spent a lot of time lending into M&A opportunities, right? But that's something you don't hear a lot about in the cigar industry, right? Like for cigar companies that are doing well and then start to struggle, do they just cease to exist, or do you have guys that bring two different brands together and create a new brand, or is there any kind of merging of companies, or do they just fall away? I'm not sure.
I think it falls away.
Okay.
I have seen it where they come together, but they fail.
Okay.
Here's the truth. This is a very small mom and pop business.
Yeah.
We're a $2 billion a year business. This is an industry. That's the industry.
Yeah.
We consume more alcohol in a few counties in terms of billions of dollars in Northern Virginia than the entire cigar industry as a whole.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we got reps of alcohol, alcohol reps that just deal with like zip codes. This is how big alcohol, just giving you an example of alcohol. So that is the reason why you see reps that, for large companies, I'm not even talking small companies, I'm talking large companies that cover like 6-7 states. It ain't possible to cover 6-7 states. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You make phone calls.
Right.
You may go there once a year, but that ain't enough.
It's not enough.
Not enough for you to make a dent and to have like real relationship building. So, but it is the only way to do it. Or you do another model like other companies do, that just sell it online, or do another model where other companies do, like they don't need reps and people just phone them in and it's perfect. But that's a whole different level of brand technique, brand management that gets you to that level, right?
Yeah.
So I have seen many examples of people merging different companies. Margins are just not there, man.
Not there.
Nah. Yeah. When you start having 3-4 ownerships in a business and multiple interests and everybody's trying to get a piece of the whole market, it's hard, man. I always reference my buddy Eric Espinosa. He's like the first way, and I'm sure other people have said this as well, but the best way to make $1 million in the cigar industry is to start with one. Okay, so not easy.
No, I got you. But
the hustle's there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think it's all predicated on margin, right? So being able to control
100%.
Your destiny from beginning to end allows you more opportunity to maximize your margin, right? I think 100%. The companies that struggle is when they have to go to distributors at each step, because everybody needs their piece of the pie, and by the time it gets to you, there's no margin left, right?
It's very hard,
and that becomes the challenge.
Very hard to be able to turn get that wheel to turn profit after you're spending. For me, I spent about $100,000 on travel alone. Like I have 38 countries in my business. I spend a month in Europe every September because I go for Intertabac. I spend 25,000 euros every single time I go in an exhibit, and I gotta go 2 weeks before. This year I'm going to Latvia. I'm going to Estonia because we're doing some exclusives there. To build took me 10 years from 2016 to 2026 at this level to be able to land at Dubai duty free and get that relationship started. It cost me 3 years and over $15,000 in airplane tickets. Like, people don't understand the requirement. They don't want to see some distributor there and say, oh yeah, give me a couple boxes of this. It doesn't work like that, right? Yeah. If you want to have those level of relationships, it starts with even your own government. You know what I mean? Like, I work with the Dominican Republic, Foreign Affairs Office to create connections with people in different countries that would like to facilitate that the product of your country is being represented there.
Yeah.
And so it takes years to create those relationships. So yeah, so if people don't understand the level of hustle and the long-term impact on your margins and the impact on your growth, it's going to be significant.
So looking back on your experience, from the early days where you were building to where you are continuing to build, and it sounds like you're building an international business now, but what has surprised you?
So a lot of things have surprised me. One of the biggest surprises for me, it's the business acumen of the people that are succeeding is way far above those that are not.
Yeah.
And I think that's the make or break, right? Like if you don't know what are some of the things that are going to impact your business, long-term growth, if you don't know that you're burning cash by having product just sit around that doesn't move, if you don't know that partnerships is everything on a business like this, and if you don't rely on that partnership to grow, then you're destined to fail. And then and then also some of the common sense things like women in the cigar industry, people don't understand how important that growing segment is, and how you should probably better target that so that you can bring in a new segment of people that are very interested in this, that is growing, but it is incredibly uninviting as an industry.
Yeah,
in every sense of the word.
I'm tracking on that.
So stuff like this to me is beyond, above a whole bunch of other stuff, but we need more alcohol for that, buddy.
It's for another time, right? No,
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm with you though. I mean, I think again, I spent a lot of time as a corporate lender, and then I spent a number of years in different roles at Microsoft, and then as I transitioned away from corporate work into a couple of cigar ventures, there's a big disparity as it relates to business acumen, right? Just understanding the basics of, it's great to generate $1 in revenue, but not if it costs you $1 to generate it, right? Like everybody's looking at the top line. I'm a trained lender. I'm like, I always want to know what's going on with my bottom line, right? Because the top line doesn't mean anything.
It is so, like, sometimes I'm just like, you sold that for what? And like, I'd be surprised. Like, people are like, and I'm not talking retail level, I'm talking manufacturer level. Just not knowing your numbers, man, that just immediately kills you. Not understanding, how to do the right forecasting, how to buy it right for your business, right? And I'm talking manufacturing level. I mean, that there's a whole different segment for. I have my own personal Instagram and YouTube page that I try to teach or try to come clean or try to be as authentic as I can be with my experiences.
Yeah.
Something that I have always been very shy about for over 12 years, but I kind of had it. Like, I think people need to know. People need to just know some basic things. Like, if you're trying to attract more women to your lounge, maybe clean the bathroom.
Basic. Yeah.
Or get that guy to take his feet off of the couch and be able to have in a more inviting place.
Yeah.
Work on the lights a little bit. Just some basic stuff, right? Like,
absolutely.
That just speaks to that. But what about, like, don't come into a cigar shop with 3 cigars and sit down and spend 3 hours with the Wi-Fi and the things on when you know that it costs this much money every single day to open up those doors. It's not that guy gets a break on a Sunday or a Monday. You know what I mean? It costs the exact same to open up those doors. So I think just some basic things like that. And I did that in December, and I was having a very frustrating conversation with a friend of mine. It was like, Omar, you need to just like put that out on like, just start talking like this. Like, you don't want to, like, I should not belong having those guys, because I can become very blunt. But it's worked out, man. It's been growing pretty good, and stuff like that. I think is helpful for our industry to just come across, and you got to tell people the truth, man.
Yeah, no, I do. You do crack me up. I do follow your Instagram, obviously, and those reels are hilarious. Like you're super blunt. You're like,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
when you cut your cigar, don't pull the vein, don't pull the stuff.
What? Like, stop pulling the veins out of your. These are stems. We use them for flavor and for structure. Like, you got to tell people, man. And it's just sometimes it's frustrating. But what has happened is people have really connected with the industry insight.
Yeah.
Which it's been slowly diverting away, and so I, as a cigar manufacturer, being in this side of the industry and having been to thousands of lounges and hundreds of lounges international. I mean, we got 35 stores that sell Fratello in Brazil. I've been to 25 of them. We got over 50 locations selling Fratello in Germany. I've probably been to over 40 of them. I mean, I'm telling you, when you get a chance to experience and see for yourself, so many of these experiences, you come back with a wealth of knowledge. And I think it's important for people to know, for people to follow and understand, especially if you are interested in cigars. It not only stands for the terms of like the business side of the house, but just to know. Don't take the veins off. Like, try not to, if you're going to loan your cutter, bro, like make sure that you know where that mouth has been the day before. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Well, like, bro, like, these are some basic stuff, but it's meant to educate and it's meant to come across to have people understand this industry a little bit better.
No, but it's good education, but it cracks me up because it's like very blunt, right?
It is, man.
And I'm a blunt person, and I'm like, but Omar takes it to a different level. I'm like, I thought I was blunt.
I do. I swear to God,
you literally like, don't do the following.
This is. I swear to you, Steve. This is
like,
the
what's
last
going on?
3.5, 4 months. I've always had the Michael Jordan, belief of.
I'm like you're 6'9", you're scaring people, man. Like,
I had
one
guy made a comment of like, bro, easy.
Ease
I get it. My bad, man. Like, okay.
I'm getting nervous right now.
I won't bring any more cigars. Take it easy.
I'm getting nervous right now.
Oh, man.
But no, I think, so again, like all kinds of like really great nuggets of wisdom here. Like I didn't realize that you have a truly international business, right? And so for a growing brand, that has to be unique, right?
That's
got to be unique.
It's so cool too. Because I'm working on a brand for Latvia called Fratello. And the reason is Fratello is because brat is like brother in Italian, right? Mm-hmm. In Russian. And so Fratello means brother in Italian. So we literally just changed the F for the B. And we have a beautiful brand that's going to be released now in September for the Latvian market. We created a beautiful cigar for the Malaysian market that has been on fire.
Yeah.
So stuff like this, I think, is so important for people to know and people to connect with. So
no, I like that. So again, like I said, a lot of key learnings. What I'd love to know more about is sounds like you've done a great job of sharing a story about your brand that resonates with the lounge or the cigar shops. Like, how do you build that story? And when you're sharing that story, how do you get them or convince them of your competitive advantage so that when a consumer walks into their lounge, they're wanting to tell your story about your cigars as opposed to telling a story about another brand's cigars?
That's a great question.
Love to know more about that.
That's a great question, Steve. And this is something that I honestly have been refining and learning as I go, because you have to bear in mind, I also consider myself a very young entrepreneur. I was 4 years into NASA, you know what I mean, while I was still running my business. I called it a hobby then because it is a hobby. When you're not doing this full time, you got a nice hobby that you're working on. When you are waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning and going to work at 9, getting out at 6 o'clock and doing your 9 to 5 job, kind of thing. It's your 9 to 5 now in entrepreneurship when you're full time is the moment you wake up in the morning, the moment you go to sleep at night. I mean, that's just the truth. Yeah. I work on the weekends. I work on Saturdays and Sundays. I was yesterday pulling together a huge presentation for my team on the future of Fratello. We're working on a rebrand going forward. It's a nice little nugget for you guys because I haven't said that publicly, but we're working on rebranding a lot of stages of Fratello, and those are some of the questions that I am having to answer again. So for me, I believe that there is so the importance of knowing who your end consumer is,
Yeah.
and how to talk to that person. Know what they do on a Saturday. Know if they have a family. Know what what type of car they're driving.
Yeah.
Know if they're going to a restaurant and asking for the most expensive bottle, or the bottle that they know is worth it for what they're going to enjoy that night, and they don't want to overpay. Know that they have a girlfriend or they have a family. Knowing these things are crucial to how to market to them. And so we've run our business in a very different style that we are going to be running it going forward, based on a lot of this learning. So when you're creating your brands and you're creating new products, you're always thinking about, for me, I'm always thinking about, like, what would I like to enjoy? What kind of like cigar would I like to have in my hand? What kind of sentiment or experience I want to have when I light it up, and how do I want to feel at the end of the smoking with my friends or whatever. And so I think that understanding that and being laser focused on that will help your retailers get that message out much easier to the end consumer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think a core theme in a number of my episodes is just making certain that people understand the value of relationships, right? It doesn't matter what sector or industry you're in. There's tremendous value in mobility as it relates to business, in investing in and nurturing relationships.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't
100%.
matter what you're selling or buying.
It doesn't matter.
You have to know who you're talking to.
100%.
People do business with people, not
That's
companies.
That's
right?
it.
And so
That's it.
that doesn't always land with folks.
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah. So tell me, I do recall, and again, I've been tracking you for a while, and obviously enjoying your cigars.
Okay.
I was intrigued by the vice versa. What's the concept behind that? I did try it.
I love it.
Very interesting. Share with us how that works and how it was a differentiator in the market.
One of my most favorite ideas that came from listening to other people. A good friend of mine, Kevin, had approached me with this idea of creating a cigar that you can smoke from either end.
Yeah.
And I told him, it's like, well, that's not that hard. Just like cap it on both ends and light it from one area and then smoke it from the other. Like, it's just vice versa, right? Or just like something different.
Yeah.
Then I had to take it up a notch. Then I was like, that's kind of stupid. And it's been done before. Why don't we figure out a way to make it like that you start off the cigar like strong as it can be, or smooth as possible,
Depending on which
side you light up.
Gotcha.
So it was a huge success.
Yeah.
We launched it about 2.5 years ago. We're relaunching it now as the Fratello Smooth and Strong, and we're fascinated by the connection that it's going to have in the market for this product.
Gotcha.
The build up for the Fratello Smooth and Strong now is going to be huge. One of the things that we are working on is making sure that people understand how they light it up, because we did make a lot of mistakes on that very first launch, and one of those was like people were confused. I mean, should I light it up on this side, and that's when I get the strong? So now our materials are much better to explain those things to the consumer. But it is hands down the most innovative cigar that has been launched in the last 13, 15 years. Hands down. Gotcha. Nobody has ever been able to do a cigar that you decide as a consumer if you want to start off strong and mild, or if you want to start off mild and end strong.
Gotcha.
So it was awesome. It is part of what we are trying to continue to promote and continue to grow. We want to grow more innovation into an industry that is were 500 years old from the moment the indigenous people were lighting up tobacco to connect with the gods back when Christopher Columbus came to America first and took a lot of the leaves of tobacco to Europe and became a commodity and all that stuff. I think it's great to innovate. So I'm really glad you brought up the Fratello Smooth and Strong, because it's actually being released right now, and it's really, really, really exciting project that we're looking for people to try and enjoy.
Gotcha. No, like I said, I tried it.
Yeah,
man. I thought it was awesome.
Thank you.
And again, because most of the time, people look at that, is marketing, but no, I tried it, and I tried both sides on different occasions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it absolutely was
100%.
a very unique experience. I'm like, this is kind of cool.
100%. It was fascinating to do, and we got other things in the works. But that one was a great experience for us to work on.
Now, I know you're working on some new things. Anything you can share?
Yeah, so we got this week we're launching the USA 250.
Oh, great.
It's
okay.
a semi-quintessential for celebrating America's 250th birthday. And that was a great project to start. It was a project that I was obsessed with, utilizing the most USA tobacco that I could on a blend. And I have to say that although I tried to even make the wrapper USA Pennsylvania broadleaf, I couldn't do it. The flavors, man, they go haywire on you.
Yeah.
That's why, there's not that many American puros that do well. It's because it's rough out there for that flavor profile. But we did put some Nicaraguan tobacco that enhanced the experience to a whole different level. It's shipping this week along with the Fratello Smooth and Strong. So we're a lot of customers, about 45, because we had to limit it to 45 stores nationwide to have this product. So it's going to be available very, very soon.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to that. I do recall on one of your earlier reels. Give me your true thoughts around the Behique. I know you were talking about it. What are your thoughts? Because again, the Behique is on my list. I've got probably 2 or 3 cigars that I haven't tried that I want to try. The Behique is at the top of that list.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So the Behique, I probably have tried in the last. Yeah, I've been smoking for at least almost 30 years. I probably have had, I probably have smoked every major brand and an enormous amount of other cigars in that time frame. The Behique, along with, so many other Cuban cigars, it's like a box of chocolates, Steve. You never know what you're going to get. That's just the truth. I mean, I had a Behique that I thought was incredible, and then I had another one that I thought was smoking a Partagas. I have no idea what in the world had happened out of the same box. Too.
Yeah.
And every single time you're
So 2 out of the same box, completely different.
Completely different. That happens to me a lot with one of my favorite brands in the world is Partagas Lusitania. That Churchill size, that blend is extraordinary when it's good.
Yeah.
But I've had at least 10 different boxes of cigars in this last 30 years. Some of them I still have in my humidor for a particular reason. It's because they vary too much. I can have one plugged, 6 or 7 that are excellent, and 2 that I have no idea what the hell it is.
Yeah.
And so for me, as a consumer, as a buyer, I don't want that. I want that if it's in one box, that it's been approved, and it is quality controlled, I want all the cigars to draw, and I want all the cigars to taste the same.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. I'm not expecting your 2022 Partagas Lusitania to taste the same as 2018. There's no way it can taste the same. As cigar smokers, we think and we are expecting tobacco to have no variations at all throughout the years. And the truth is, it varies all the time. The only thing that helps maintain a certain level of consistency is if you continue to buy tobaccos that are from the same region, from the same manufacturer, the same rollers are doing it, similar processes for the tobacco. That's how you try to keep a blend consistent. But our palates change every year.
True.
It changes during the day. I can guarantee you, so if you smoke that cigar right now, after you've had a great meal, you had your steak, you've gone ahead and you had a couple of drinks, but you didn't have our hard alcohol, you were having maybe a mimosa, or you were having maybe an old fashioned, it will taste, your palate just completely changed. That cigar will never taste the same as if you have it in the morning with coffee. And I'm not talking about having a cigar in a fresh, what they call a fresh palate or nothing. A fresh palate, bro, the moment you wash your mouth in the morning, it is no longer a fresh palate. So I don't want to hear about like, oh, you have your fresh palate on this, you have your fresh palate on that. The reality is you want to have a cigar multiple times during the day. And this is how I particularly work on new blends for my company. I don't consider myself a master blender by any means necessary, but I do consider myself a master tester. And I will test the living bejesus out of my cigars for months until I know that I feel good about the cigar. And the way I test it is I test it in the morning, afternoon, evening. I test it when I'm going out. I'm testing when I'm mowing the lawn. I'm testing it when I'm driving the car. I want to test it in multiple situations so that I know how it evolves in my palate. But the truth of the matter is your palate and your flavor profile changes more than the actual cigar. It is not the same as if I give you a cigar with an orange juice after you had an orange juice and you light it up, than if I give you a cigar after you had great coffee and it balanced the acidity in your mouth, which is probably the best pairing in the world is coffee and cigars, right? The alkalinity of this versus the acidity, it meshes in your palate. It's just a beautiful combination. Yeah. So I think there is just so many different ways to see the essence of how Cuban cigars ought to really be and keep certain levels of consistency within one box, right? Let alone let consistency going forward. So do I think you need to try it 100%? I think you need to try every single cigar out there because it gives you the experience. Like to me, Ramon Allones 2017 Reserva is a phenomenal blend.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. But I've had the Ramon Allones a few years back and I could live the rest of my life without having another one of those cigars out of a different year. So for me, it's we're getting so much more better tobacco, so much more consistent tobacco from the processes that you're finding in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, than you're finding in Cuba right now.
Gotcha.
Not very popular with a lot of my good Cuban friends because there's a lot of Americans that buy their cigars bring a lot of cigars from Cuba. A lot of them are fake. I actually want to say this. I think that the fake Cuban market is at least double the size than the actual real Cuban cigar market.
I would definitely agree with
that.
I would definitely agree with that.
If you go to the Dominican Republic or any other country or Mexico and you're thinking they're selling you a Cuban cigar while you're on the beach with your little mamacita and beautiful, that will never be the same. Never. Don't do it.
Yeah, never. Don't do it. No, I got you. Well, this has been really enlightening. I appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you. I'd love to have you back. This has been a wonderful opportunity to get some insights, which I think is great. You've done a great job. I look forward to your 250 coming up.
Thank you.
The rebrand. I want to check out some of the things you have coming out. So again, just want to extend a thank you
so much
for joining. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah.
And appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation.
I appreciate you for inviting me. This was awesome for me. A great opportunity to smoke a good cigar, have a drink, have a great conversation. So thank you so much for inviting me, man.
Perfect. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. I'd like to, again, thanks to Omar for joining us. Thanks to our friends at Rebellion for hosting. And I'd love to extend a thank you to the Access Studios team as well for a wonderful production. And with that, I encourage folks to go to YouTube to check out the Burn and Learn podcast. You can just go to YouTube, search Burn and Learn. I've also have a website, bnlpod.com, if you want to check out the podcast there as well. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
Thanks for lighting one up with us. That was Stephen Mann. And you've been listening to Burn and Learn, the Cigar Lifestyle Podcast. Brought to you by Stogie Hub. Elevate your cigar game. This episode was a full production by Access Studios. Access the power of video. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel for exclusive content and hit that subscribe button to stay updated.